Welcome to the Journey to Iconic, the podcast about emotional self-leadership. This is where we explore the inner mechanics behind confidence, presence, emotional regulation, and self-trust. The skills that determine how you lead, communicate, and respond when life gets real. I'm Kirsten Barfoot, and this season isn't about self-help. It's about learning how to lead yourself so everything else in your life starts to align. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to this episode where we're going to be talking about boundaries. Not the dramatic kind, not the confrontation, not shutting people down, the invisible kind of boundaries. The micro boundaries that senior leaders either hold or slowly erode. So if you're constantly feeling pulled by other people's urgency, then this episode is going to be for you. So you're going to walk away understanding why over-responsiveness weakens leadership presence, how unclear boundaries quietly outsource your authority, and how to reestablish the boundaries without becoming rigid or difficult. The spine of this episode is leaders maintain authority and focus by managing boundaries and not by reacting to every single external demand. So boundaries aren't walls, they're structure, and they exist for us as individuals. They are something that we can implement that are for us to manage, and it requires another person to do nothing. So when we don't have that structure, this is when we allow the authority to dissolve. And here's what happens. We get requests all day long. Quick question. Ever heard that? Like, I've just got a quick question. Can I just check in? Can you approve this? And I need your feedback. So when these happen individually, it's not a problem. However, over the day, over the week, over the month, this is boundary erosion, and we are showing people how to continue to do this. So check in with whether you feel the pressure to respond quickly. Why? Is it because somewhere underneath there is a belief that if I don't respond, I'm dropping the ball. If I delay, I look disengaged. If I don't explain, I seem unhelpful. Do you find the need to explain why you didn't respond to something straight away? What is the self-perception in those moments? Why? Ask yourself that question. Why? Why do I feel the need to respond straight away? So let's see. So you reply immediately. So let's look at that. So let's look. You reply immediately. And every single time you do this, you're not just answering the question, you're signaling access. And so there is a pattern that will form. It's like external urgency now becomes your internal urgency. Other people's timelines now override your priorities, and availability becomes a default instead of intentional. And so now this is an issue around boundaries. It becomes less about time management and less about productivity. This is actually a boundary issue because authority is signaled by what you allow. If you allow the constant interruption, you communicate that your time is open to be taken. And so when boundaries are unclear, three things happen. Your authority shifts externally. People learn that pressure moves you, so they apply more pressure. They escalate, they follow up faster, they push harder because they've seen that it works. Number two, your focus fragments. So instead of holding strategic thinking space, you're clearing an inbox tension. You become the responsive rather than the directive. And that's a fundamental leadership shift. And so now you move into defensive energy. You start explaining more than necessary, apologizing when you haven't failed, and justifying timelines repeatedly. And that's boundary leakage in embodiment form. Let me use an example. A senior leader is waiting on approval from a higher authority before proceeding with the system upgrade. The consultant keeps emailing, any update, just following up, need confirmation. Nothing has changed. Nothing has actually changed, but the leader keeps responding, keeps explaining, reassuring, apologizing, and each reply reinforces something subtle. My time is reactive to your pressure. Now imagine a different boundary, one clear response. I'll update you once approval is confirmed. And then silence. It's not coldness, it's not avoidance, it's just containing the information. It's containing your valuable time, containing your priorities, not reacting to constant pressure to update or confirm. So that boundary does three things. It protects your focus, it signals your internal authority, and it trains your environment, because boundaries are not just personal, they are instructional. People calibrate themselves around the structure you provide. When you don't provide structure, they will create it for you. So what's the move? It's not about ignoring people, and it's not being abrupt. It's deliberate boundary placement. It's the standard. You do not respond to relieve somebody else's anxiety. You respond when it aligns with your timeline, and that is leadership maturity. So the reorientation shifts from I must respond now to be responsible to my responsibility includes protecting my priorities and informing. The structure is important. What is the structure? And that provides certainty instead of doubt from others. And it's different. So the integration is that not every ping requires immediate engagement. In fact, turn the notifications off. Not every urgency is yours to own. Remember, we talked about allowing space for solutions to unfold. Sometimes the silence produces innovation and initiative from another. So not every follow-up deserves repetition, because boundaries create authority because they create predictability, and predictability creates stability. And your job as a senior leader is not to absorb everybody else's urgency, it is to contain it. So remember, leaders maintain authority and focus by managing boundaries, not by reacting to every single external demand. And that's the insight to carry with you today.
Before you go, take a moment with this. Is there any area of your life where you're being asked to trust yourself more, even if it feels uncomfortable? That's often where self-leadership is actually built. I'm really glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Journey to Iconic podcast.